All right. Hey, everybody. I'm excited to come at you guys today with another amazing, spectacular show to help you guys just break through to that next level in your finances, in your relationship around money, and your relationship with your spouse around money. We're just going to get right to it and get right at it today, guys. So, today I want to talk about a really popular misconception, and that is really what people are most freaked out about when it comes to their money. And so, when it comes to like financial fears and what freaks people out the most and what really scares them, it's not what you would think. And I actually had this misconception for the longest time. And so, specifically, like after helping so many Christian couples, I found that like the greatest fear that people have is not really around like the greatest fear they have around money is not actually around like about money. So specifically, so what I mean by this is that people's greatest fear around money is not really the debt. Okay, it's not all the payments, it's not all the letters, it's not all of the juggling of different cards and payments and all that kind of stuff. It's not the debt. It's not major emergencies. It is not like like medical bills or a major car bill or a house bill or a job loss, things like that. It's not about like having to work until they're dead or like having to work until your body gives out. Only 6% of people can work past age 70. So but it's not even that. It's not about braces or how am I going to pay for braces, how am I going to pay for college, how am I going to pay for the wedding. Some of you guys have, we have some clients that have like 8 kids. It's like holy crap. So it's a great thing, but it's like that could be 8 different weddings. So like how are we going to pay for that? How are we going to pay for funerals? Maybe our funerals. Like what if our parents pass away, because a lot of your parents are not prepared financially. So it's like, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay for that? It's not even that though. Okay, believe it or not, it's not about vacations. It's not, well, what if we can't go on a vacation? And oh my gosh, what's going to happen to us? And how am I going to survive? And how am I going to make it through another year? And we're going to snap and go crazy. It's not even vacation, guys. It's not even marriage. Okay, because for a lot of people, the money stress and the money fights or the tension or the things like that happening, it's not even that. It's not about, will this cost us our marriage? Will this lead to separation? Things like that. It's not even that. It's not even a recession or an economic collapse, which apparently we're in a recession. So, but it's not even that. It's not even that. Here, if you guys want to know, here's the number one thing that really freaks out people most, that if you can't learn how to not only get over the fear, but actually make it so that it doesn't actually happen, that the fear doesn't come true, the nightmare does not become true. Guys, if you can't figure out how to do that, it is going to keep you stuck. It is going to keep you in anxiety and scarcity. It's going to keep you in freak out. It's going to keep you in inaction. But if you can actually overcome it, if you can't actually do that, guys, you're going to find yourself making more money. You're going to find yourself saving more money. You're going to find your marriage improving. You're going to find your quality of life improving, your mental health, your physical health, your sex life, everything. Like it's going to improve when you can overcome this. And this is really people's greatest fear. Okay. Are you ready? Drum roll. Okay. It's them. It's them. People's greatest fear has nothing to do with the actual money itself or lack thereof, or what would happen if I don't have enough or if it runs out. It's not money, it's them. It's themselves. Here's what I mean by this, guys. People deep down more than anything are terrified because, guys, here's the thing. Money is out there. There's trillions of dollars in our economy. Money is there. It's like it's there for the taking. But the problem is that people are terrified, but what if I don't go out there and take it? What if I don't change? So again, if you're in a position right now where you don't have enough money, or you've got great money, but it's not working for you like you'd like it to, or there's not enough in savings and not enough, there's too much debt, all these different things. It's this idea that terrifies people of, what if I don't change? What if I can't change? Because people, guys, here's what I love about what's happened with just all of the knowledge, like the knowledge that's available nowadays with Google, YouTube, courses, all of these different things, guys, is that people have woken up to the idea that the problem, because about 10, 15, years ago, even like it was still being marketed that like the biggest problem that people have is like a lack of information, right? So Google fixed that, YouTube fixed that, so many different things. So when it comes to like, how do I save more money, or like, how do I make more money? And like, of course there are some courses and things that, you wouldn't necessarily find out for free that you need to take, you need to learn, you need to, to go to school for some of these things, or online school, or, in-person school, things like that. But really what people are waking up to is this idea that the strategy is irrelevant if you are in the way. So, in other words, what I mean is that we live in the information age, guys. The problem with our generation, with the generation above mine, with the generation below mine, and 2 generations above mine, is not a lack of information. It's a lack of transformation. Let me say that again. It is not a lack of information. You don't need more information primarily. Everyone could use some more information. It's great, it's helpful. But the primary thing that's keeping you stuck is not that, it's you. It's a lack of transformation in you. So in other words, the greatest fear, like I said, is people have is themselves. What if I can't change? What if I never choose to change? What if I just accept it? Like, what if I just, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, guys, where it's like even people that are very successful people, but maybe they're drowning in debt or the stress is just getting to them, where they've said, I've even heard this from multiple people in the past couple months, where they said, I've even thought about just running away. I mean, people with kids, like just running away, like getting in a car, just driving off and just seeing how far I can go. And like changing your identity. I mean, guys, it sounds crazy, but this is what some people think about. It's like, what if I just accept it and give up? Or like, what if I, again, a lot of people even take their life. It's terrifying. It's sad, but it's true. It's like, what if I just accept it? What if I just basically, like, what if I can't stay motivated? What if I try something again, but it doesn't work? And so then you fail, and then you feel all that remorse and all that regret and all that guilt. What if I just let it, this is really the ultimate question, that really the biggest fear that people have is, what if I let it get to that point? What if I, Jeremy, what if I just let it get to that point? Like, what if it takes something absolutely terrifying to change me? If you want to know what people are really afraid about, guys, that's it. Is what if I don't have the ability to change myself? What if I don't have the ability to change my behavior, to change what I'm doing that's sabotaging me financially? What if I can't change? What if it has to get to the point where, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Every single person, if you're watching this right now, you know that that point would look like one or a combination of the following. It might look like a bankruptcy, having to like foreclose on a house, having to literally watch the bank, come and seize, your assets, things like that, or come take over the house, or kick you out, things like that. The realtors come, I'm saying I'm sorry, having to get to that point, having to watch the car get repoed and taken away, having to cancel the vacation, having to tell your family that, sorry, we're forced, we got my hands are tied, honey, or kids, we cannot go on the vacation this year. Letting it get to that point where you have to just shut down the dream business, where you're like, you know what, your spouse has been nagging you or people, and it's like, this is a hobby, this is not a business, and just you have to shut it down because you don't have the capital anymore to do it, because your money's not mastered and it's not under control. Having to get sued by creditors. For a lot of people, they have to let it get to that point, or they're afraid, what if I just let it get to that point where I'm getting notices, I'm getting lawsuits, I'm having to show up in court? It's like having to sell that priceless thing, or that thing that you said you would never sell, whether it's a wedding ring, whether it's a gift from a parent, things like that, having to sell that, having to apply for another loan and get rejected. So many people know that if something major were to happen, their only hope at this point is to apply for another loan, guys. But a lot of banks right now are really tightening up, because there's so many people begging for loans, and like there's only so much money to go around. And so, guys, a lot of people are getting rejected that maybe typically would not have gotten rejected. So a lot of people are trying to apply for a loan, or they know that if they can't fix it, they're going to have to apply for a loan. And what if they get rejected? Now what? Letting it get to the point where they have to get rejected and told, I'm sorry, by the bank, the person at the bank, or the online credit card company, or having to pull from an already too small retirement account, having to pull from something, especially if the market's down, having to pull, oh my gosh, having to beg friends or family or church members. If something, again, if something major would happen, if the money was not there, it's having to beg from those people, or letting it get to the point where it's like you have to put your kids in a bad learning environment. We're talking to a lot of people. I'm not judging, but I'm just saying that a lot of people right now are feeling very uncomfortable with the public education system, and they're wanting to homeschool, or they're wanting to do things like that. But they know that if we can't fix the situation financially, we cannot afford to do that. And they're going to send them back into a situation with, guys, to be honest with you, again, I think you all would agree, no matter where you lean on, like, the schooling spectrum, what kids are going to have to go through this next year in school is like, it's pretty traumatic. Like if I was a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old, and that was my first experience of school, like it would kind of be a little bit freaky, especially if I didn't grow up in that society. Now, maybe if this kid continues, our great grandkids or grandkids, like it'll be normal for them to have to, wear hazmat suits, practically. Maybe by then that's what they'll have to do to get into school. But it's like, it's just crazy. Like, a lot of people, they don't want to put their kids in that situation. I'm not judging you if you are, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of people I'm talking to, that's their biggest fear, Or again, it's like, or maybe their kids are acting out. Maybe they know that for whatever reason, behaviorally or things like that, they need to pull them out of that school, but having to wait until they can't, or having to wait until they have to keep them there, put them in that school. A lot of people waiting for that, having to turn away that friend or family member in need, having to, when someone coming to you and having to let it get to that point where you see them suffering so bad that you finally change, or having to sign divorce papers, having to get the notice or get told by your spouse that they want a divorce, right? Like a lot of people, am I going to wait and let it get to that point? Is that what it's going to take? Having it, get to the ER and find out that the diagnosis is worse than what you thought, or the problem is really worse than you thought, or the medication, the stress, guys, like what if it has to get to that point? I talked to a couple recently where the husband said, I haven't been to the doctor in 2 years. When I went, my cholesterol or the blood pressure was literally off the charts, but he hasn't been. And ultimately for so many people, it's what if I have to wait and let it get to that point where I finally make a change in my health, right? What if I have to wait until I have to get put on that medication? What if I have to wait until I get that terminal or fatal diagnosis? What if I have to wait what if it takes me having to move in with the kids? If I'm unable to work, what if it takes me having to get stuck in a retirement prison home for the last 20 to 40 years of my life? Guys, like if you thought that quarantine was hard, I'm going to do a whole separate Facebook Live on this. But guys, like in all seriousness, as much as it sucks being quarantined, can you even imagine having to spend the last 20, 30, 40 years of your life in a daily quarantine? I can say that because I know someone right now in my family who's having to do that, and literally stuck in a room. People are dying all around him. He can't afford to leave. And it's like, that's the way that you end your life. Guys, it's devastating, but is that what it's going to take? And you realize that, okay, for some of these things, you realize that's what it might take to get me to take action. But ultimately, some of those things we're talking about at that point, it's too late. That's too late. So again, going back to this, if you're just tuning in, people's greatest fear that they have really, truly deep down, again, it is not the debt, it's not the savings, it's not the funerals, the weddings, the vacations, all that stuff not happening, or the economy. It's really themselves. It is, what if I can't change? What if I let it get to that point? And guys, here's the truth, okay? If you want to master your future, you must first master yourself. Let me say it again. If you want to master your future, you must first master yourself. And so the greatest fear that people have is themselves. So then that means and people know this, they're smart enough to realize again that at this point, what's holding people back financially is not primarily more information, it's transformation. It is transformation. So then people realize, and they know it's not like just transformation of my circumstances. They mean transformation of me as a person. Like I need to become the type of person that does not procrastinate and put things off. I need to be the type of person that stays motivated, and like month after month, year after year, I'm continuing to up level my game financially and how I show up in life and how I tackle my finances. Like that's what people are really wanting, and they realize that's what they need. That's what people are waking up to, because we're talking to people time and time again that they're like, Jeremy, I've got a great business model. I've got a great structure. I've got a great job. I've got all the degrees. I've got all of the accolades, or I've got, we live in a great economy, or, I've taken this online course, or I've done all these different things, or I've read the books, or I've done all these different things. And Jeremy, why am I still struggling? Why am I still stuck? It's because, again, people realize the number one problem deep down that they have that nobody really is talking about in the financial world as people's problems. They're all talking about the strategy and the programs and things like that. But guys, that's old news. People are waking up. If you're watching this, you've probably woken up. That is not what's holding people back. The number one thing is themselves. And so, guys, again, if you want to master your future, then you have to master yourself. And so really, here's what I mean. I want to break this down for you guys and give you a little bit of transformational support here, because this is really what's holding people back. Okay. It is understanding that I am the problem, but that also means I'm the solution. And that means I have to change me. I have to change me. And so, guys, if we talk about changing let's talk about what are some of the things that really hold people back, and like, how does this work from like a pragmatic standpoint of like changing yourself to become the type of person that doesn't have to wait until all the hits the fan and everything's crapping out, like the terrifying diagnosis, the phone call, things like that. Because guys, just so you know, I've studied human behavior now for years. I don't know there are maybe a couple other financial coaches I know across the US that have talked to this many people, but I can guarantee you, like, I have studied the human brain and how people navigate and how people make decisions and how people change their life. And I can tell you, after talking to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, that people typically, the average person, will not change until one of those or a combination of those things I just talked about happen. Okay. But if you really want to, like, if you really don't want to have to wait for that to happen and you want to cut it off at the pass and you really want to be able to say, you know what, I want to do this now so that none of that stuff has to happen. Here's really where it begins in terms of personal transformation. Okay. So I'm going to break this down for you guys. So I've got up here on this little slide at the bottom. It's not really a slide, it's a little ticker thing, but, and I can't, it's driving me crazy. My OCD. It's like, I couldn't make the perfect arrow. So you guys, you know, if any of you guys are a little bit OCD, you can suffer with me on that one. But you see, guys, it first starts with the idea of programming. Okay. So really, like, if the greatest fear is like, what if I don't change? What if I can't change? What if I just let it get that bad? Then the first thing you guys have to realize is that the reason why you think that about yourself and that your life is basically, guys, here's what I mean. Oh man, you can't see it because I can't actually point my ticker at the end. But basically, guys, like, let's start from the very end. So like results. Okay. So if you don't have the right results in life, like if you still have debt, if you still have stress, if like money stress, if you're still fighting around money, if you're still, you know, not where you want to be, you know, in terms of savings and all this kind of stuff, right? Basically, the results in your life are not where you want to be. Then basically, guys, the way to fix those problems is to go all the way back and trace it back to the source. Okay. So here's what I mean by that. If you are not where you want to be financially and the results in your life are not where you want to be, then basically, guys, the reason why that's the case is because of the actions that you have taken or neglected to take. Okay. So what I mean by that is that basically, like, the behaviors that you have. So if you are splurging or overspending money, if you are, that's one obvious way, right? Obviously, if you have no control over your money and you're an impulse buyer, and the reason why you impulse buy, it's going to cause bad results in your life when it comes to your finances. Like, you're going to have, you're going to find that there's not enough money there. You're going to find that you're always having to use cards, credit cards, different things like that. It's going to lead to crappy results in your life. So let's just take that one specific when it comes to, you know, splurging and things like that. Ultimately, the reason why you're making those behaviors of like overspending and things like that is ultimately stemming from an emotion, okay, or a feeling. Okay. So basically, for most people, if you're overspending, it's a way to cope. Okay. If you're just, you know, impulse buying things like that, it's a way to cope. If you find yourself clicking on stuff on Amazon, dragging it in the cart, going to Target, going to the grocery store. I talked to the lady the other day. She was really sweet, but she's like, when I'm stressed, she's like, I just go to the store and I just buy things. And my husband doesn't, like, you know, he can't really argue with it because it's like, you know, it's all on one big grocery bill. But I know that I'm just buying crap, a lot of it stuff I don't even need, but it's like it fills a void. So I'm like buying all this new random health stuff or junk or things like that. But that's just what I'm doing to try to fill the void. So for her, like, it was stemming from an emotion. It was stemming from, it could be a multitude of things, guys. It could be maybe, you know, when you're feeling anxiety, again, you find yourself impulse buying, and it's like, that's the way that you kind of medicate, and that's the way that you kind of relieve some of that anxiety. You're doing that. Maybe it's just a general depression. Maybe the way that you get, you know, you feel a little bit better about yourself is having something show up at your door, you know, from Amazon, or being able to go to the store and just purchase some stuff. Retail therapy is basically what I'm saying, is that the reason why we take certain actions like impulse buying is because there are certain emotions that are ruling you, right? And so the emotions might be anxiety. It might just be just an overall kind of stress. It could be, you know, like I said, it could be a depression. It could be so many different things. I'm just trying to give you guys a general idea of like how I like to teach things and how I like to break things down to simplify it for our clients and for people like you guys to help you understand what is it that's really holding me back. Okay. So then you got to understand, like, okay, where do those emotions then come from, though? Of like, you know, where I'm impulse buying, or not impulse buying, but like the emotions of like the anxiety or the emotions of maybe the depression or things like that. It might come from it's always going to come from a belief. It's always going to come from a belief. So maybe you have a belief like it's always going to be this way, or maybe you have a belief of my spouse just doesn't love me, or maybe you have a belief that I'm never going to change, or maybe you have a belief that, you know, that like life doesn't happen to me, or, you know, happen for me. It happens to me. And I'm a victim of my circumstances, things like that. I'm just giving you like a handful of different examples. There's tons of different beliefs, right? Like maybe your belief is that the economy is collapsing. Maybe your belief is that your spouse doesn't really want to stick around and that they want to leave, whatever it would be. Can you guys see the trickle down effect of like how that belief that like maybe my spouse might want to divorce me one day would lead to some anxiety, which then would lead to some impulse spending, which then would lead to being broke, right? Or not having enough money for what you want, or having them come to you and say, what the heck is this? What are all these bills? What are you buying? That's just one example. Again, guys, I'm taking impulse buying, but I could do this with like 1,000 different things. And then ultimately, like, where do you get those different ideas? And ultimately, like, in circle something, you know, that's maybe the one with like my spouse wanting to leave or things like that. That's a belief that like might not necessarily come from a program, but it could also, well, actually, let's take that one. Okay. So programs, right? So let's just say that you think, okay, my spouse wants to leave me. I think my spouse wants to leave, or they're kind of being kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe they're going to divorce me or things like that. Where do you get this idea? Where do you get that notion? Because for a lot of people, maybe your spouse never actually said it out loud. They haven't even told you anything like that. But where does it come from, guys? Well, guess what? From the moment you guys were like a couple of years old, you guys are watching TV. You guys were around family members. You guys were in school. You guys were reading books, things like that. And so you probably saw other people that told similar stories, or you probably saw certain sitcoms, or chick flicks or whatever the heck it was, where the husband was acting kind of funny or things like that. And so like that ultimately was a program that you chose to then say, okay, so then when these sorts of things happen, this is what I believe is going to happen. And when I believe this is how I feel. And when I feel this way, this is what the kind of actions I take in my life. And when I take these kind of actions, these are the kind of results I get in life. Are you guys tracking with me? If this makes any sense, can you guys give me a thumbs up or give me a heck yeah in the comments, or, hashtag replay, and then just say the same thing? Because guys, I want to make sure this is clicking with you. This is the kind of stuff that I'm telling you is it really what holds people back. It's all of this stuff specifically at the top. And the problem is that at the top of the chain there, right? So I can't really, again, it's all sideways, but going back to programs, beliefs, things like that, and your emotions. The problem is that people usually focus on the results or the behaviors and try to coach or teach things around there. And they're like, you just need a different behavior. Just again, cut up your credit cards, just close up these accounts, just, again, if you think about health stuff, just throw all the crappy food away, or just don't drive by the McDonald's, whatever it would be. Like, they focus on behavior. Most people focus on behavior. Specifically, like, again, even in the financial world, they're talking about things like that with credit cards, things like that, cutting those things up. And people realize that that's not really it. Even like, hey, get this specific budgeting app. You need to use this budgeting app. If you don't, this budgeting app is great. It's going to change your life, right? And most of you guys that have started a budget realize it's not that simple. And the budget only works if you do. So going back to this concept, right? The strategies are relevant if you're in the way. You can have a great budget, guys. And I love budgeting. We teach people how to budget the right way, because no one does budget the right way. I've never had a single person that does it the right way, that's actually effective, that is sustainable, that actually is going to draw you together instead of further apart, and help you stay motivated and excited, because you're actually winning and it makes it simple. Okay. But the problem is, again, guys, even if you have a great budget, the strategy is irrelevant if you're in the way. If you have not yet mastered your ability to control the beliefs and the emotions that you live your life from, then ultimately no strategy is going to fix it. Okay. Nothing is going to change. And so the problem is that, again, so much financial advice out there. Again, guys, it's all about just getting the right budget in place, or getting the right spreadsheets in place, or, hey, just apply for more jobs, just do these different things. Like I said, actions, right? Behaviors, which those are good things. But the problem is that's just surface change. And that's why so many of you guys, it's like you still feel like, you might say, I still feel like a slave, just I'm changing the master. But I still feel like I don't have self-control. I still feel like I don't really have mastery over all of the toxic thinking that I have about myself, or the toxic thinking I have about money, or about, the things that I'm feeling. I still feel enslaved to my anxiety. I still feel enslaved to, just the stress, or the fear, or the anger that I feel that comes out toward myself, toward my spouse, toward my kids. And guys, that's what I'm saying, is that any solution that you guys sign up for, it has to address those deeper psychological, whatever you want to call it, subconscious, mental, call it whatever you want, the chatterbox, the heart, the brain, whatever you guys want to call it. But if it's not addressing those ultimate things, it is going to leave you disappointed, and it is going to leave you falling short from the results that you actually want in your life. And so, guys, really, again, what it comes down to is any issue in your life. If you look at the results of my life and say, I do not like the results that I'm getting, you have to trace it all the way back up and realize that your results are stemming from certain actions. Those actions are stemming from certain emotions, and again, even positively, right? So if you have a belief, if you've been told since you were 5 years old, right, you are so creative, you can accomplish anything. And you heard this from teachers, from peers, from parents, from books, from scripture, whatever it would be. You're like, okay, wow. And so that becomes a belief that you take on. You say, wow, I really believe that I can accomplish anything. I'm creative. So what's going to happen when you feel that way? Well, you're going to feel confident, right? You're going to feel excited. You're going to feel optimistic. You're going to feel passion. You're going to feel a sense of like optimism, and I can do this. So then what's going to happen when you feel those certain emotions? You're going to take certain actions from that place. So you're going to find yourself, I'm going to go to this specific college, or I'm going to take this specific course, or I'm going to try out for this specific thing, or I'm going to do this specific thing because I really feel from my belief that I can do it, that it's possible, right? And then you're going to find what happens. You're going to find yourself being successful. You take those things, you follow through. You're going to get the accolades. You're going to get the letters behind your name. You're going to get, you're going to find yourself following through. You're going to find yourself sticking it out, showing up every day with passion and joy and things like that. The results in your life will look different. But again, guys, like even going back to the negative side again, if you don't believe that you can change or you don't believe something will work for you, then what's going to happen? At the end of the day, ultimately, you're going to feel a sense of, defeatedness, hopelessness, anxiety. It's going to lead to you kind of not trying to fix the result, fix the outcome. And you're going to find yourself just kind of dabbling with transformation, dabbling with through life, kind of wishy-washy. I start something, I stop something. And the results will be beating your head against the wall going, gosh, why can I not change? Why does it always seem this way? So if you're watching this and you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s, maybe you're in your 70s, and you find yourself, if you look back over your life, you're like, you know what? I feel like it's just a cycle of just failure, a cycle of not following through, or a cycle of I started something I didn't finish, or a cycle of just tolerating it until it got to that point where I had to like have some basically like the gun pointed to my head. Most people that are struggling financially, it's because that they live from a place of scarcity and not abundance. It's because they require external pressures. They require terrible, catastrophic, life-altering pressure to get an outcome for their life. And so again, guys, what I'm telling you is that if you want to become the type of person that doesn't have to rely on those things to happen in order to finally make change, because again, that's what most people change, even when your health. Most people don't lose 200 pounds if they need to until they go to the doctor and the doctor says you're going to die, until they get the heart attack, until they have to get the triple bypass, until they get the cholesterol that's so high that the doctor looks at them and starts freaking out and prescribing medication, things like that. And even then, most people, once you get the medication, you don't change because again, you don't have those freak out, heart, murmurs, or the palpitations or things like that, or you don't have the waking up in the middle of the night with the cold sweats, or I can't feel my feet, because again, the medication is masking it. So again, if you want to become the type of person where you don't have to wait for all the crap to hit the fan, you don't have to wait for bankruptcy to make you change. You don't have to wait for kids begging you to help pay for their school, or having to see them walk out of school with 100 grand in student debt. You don't want to have to wait until your spouse just says, that's it, I've had it, I can't stand this anymore, I'm leaving with the kids. If you don't want to have to wait till the creditors or the pressure or the lawsuits, or wait until you get to 60 years old and there's still nothing really there in retirement for you, or your mind gives out, and it's like, again, even then it's too late. If you don't want to have to wait for that and you want to fix it and you want to get it fixed quickly, guys, what I'm saying is you have to realize that in order to change, in order to get a different outcome in life, you do need strategy. It's about 20%. Again, budgets are great. Specific plans are great. Like how to come up with that, like how to, nail the next job is great. All of that stuff is great. How to be able to, to really become a top performer, in your industry, or how to become somebody who can crush it in business. Like, and then what are the strategies for that? Like we teach that, they're amazing, they're great. But ultimately, guys, what I'm telling you is that you have to become the type of person. Again, you have to have the right beliefs, that live from the right emotional state that allows you to be able to take the right actions to change the behavior so that any strategy you take sticks, and then ultimately to get better results in your life. So guys, again, if that makes sense and you realize, Jeremy, it's not primarily the lack of strategy, because I've had a lot of good strategies in the past. It's not that, maybe you've even done it before. Maybe like I've gotten out of debt before, or we've saved before, or we've not thought about money before, or I've been able to really do well in business before, or I've been able to do well in my career before, things like that. But I don't know why I'm not able to consistently sustain that, or I don't know why I'm not able to get to that next level, because most of you see the path, you know how to do it, but you're not executing on it, and you're not doing that. If any of you guys have that, or you don't even have the strategies and you're like, Jeremy, I don't even know where to begin, guys. If you're in that place, go to dreamteammarriage.com, book a free call to speak with us today. And guys, we will sit down with you guys and help you figure out what is it that's really stopping you? What is it that's really holding you back? How to get where you guys want to be, and ultimately help you build out some sort of system or some sort of, process for you to be able to get there. So we'll take a look at, again, what are your specific needs? What's wrong? Like, what do you really need to fix it? And we'll help you guys think through and walk through like what it would take to actually do it. And if we're confident we can help you guys do that and find a system for you guys that's going to work, we will let you know, absolutely. But if not, guys, and there's something else out there that's going to suit your family better, that's going to serve you guys better, I promise you, we'll be honest with you and we'll let you know that too. But either way, we're going to serve you, we're going to love you, and help you guys get radical clarity, and ultimately help you become the type of person that's going to allow you to be able to actually get the results that you want in life. Okay. So again, guys, if this was valuable, let me know. Share this with a friend. Share this with somebody. Maybe this is your spouse needs to see that. Maybe it's a sister. Maybe it's a friend. But bottom line, guys, again, just realize that ultimately, if you're focusing on the outcomes and thinking that I just need to change the results and the behaviors and things like that, you're right. Those are what, your actions and your behaviors are what affect your results in life. But you have to ask yourself, what is it that creates those? And that's how I just unpack. So if you're just tuning in, go back to the beginning and watch it. And if you want to have someone help you, walk with you, figure out somebody like that can look inside, guys. Because here's the thing, again, you realize that if you are struggling, guys, it is, again, it's not a lack of information. It's a lack of transformation. You need a coach. You need an accountability. You need somebody that can look from the outside in and say, oh my gosh, I know exactly what this is, or help you help self-diagnose so you can figure out what are those real emotions holding me back and why it's keeping me stuck? Where are those coming from? What beliefs did I have? Where did those programs come from? Did that come from childhood? Did that come from my boss? Did that come from TV? What is that? Why did I take that on and make that my gospel, my truth? And why am I living my life from that? Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was there. And I can tell you guys from a personal testimony and experience that the number one thing that ever stops me in my business or holds us back financially, whatever it would be, it always goes back to that place of my belief and my emotions, and having my coaches, the people that are around me, and even like my peer group being able to say, Jeremy, that's what's really going on. Take a look at that. Have you considered this? Do you think it could be this? And going, oh my gosh, that's what it is. So I've gotten to the point where I've realized, oh my gosh, it's not primarily what's on the outside, what's on the surface. It's what's inside, and being able to figure out how to diagnose that, how to overcome it. That's what really holds people back. And that's what people really need more than anything. And so many people are waking up to realize that that's when I need somebody like that in my life. I don't just need another strategy. I don't need another budgeting app. I don't just need another, spreadsheet, things like that. I need somebody in my life, a people that can help me see that part of me that needs to change and help me step into being the type of person that I need to be. Yeah, Bridget, need this. Absolutely, Bridget. The truth is we all need this. Okay. We all need this. Like every single person I know. It's just that what's being marked, guys, this is, again, if I can just go on a rant, I'll do this for you too, Bridget. I'm just going to post a link here. You can go to dreamteammarriage.com to book that free call. But again, Bridget and everyone else, if you're watching this is why it's driving me crazy, is that what's being marketed out there to you guys is that what's really wrong. And guys, it drives me crazy because it's it's these $20 ebooks, these $100 courses, this $200-$300 course, whatever it would be. It's just enough to get you to impulse buy on it. But ultimately, guys, it leaves you falling short. It's the people that are selling these things more often than not, the people that are selling these things, they're not in it for transformation. I can tell you this personally. One of my mentors, he's one of the greatest in terms of the online marketing space. And he talks like all of the big gurus and all the people, and they get in these rooms to talk about, guys, when they're talking about their programs, like these people that are millionaires, most of you are getting their ads about personal development or a lot of this different stuff. Guys, they're not talking about the results of the client. They're talking about how much money they made on the launch. They're talking about what their profit was. They're talking about how many affiliates they were able to grab, how many people clicked up and saw how many refunds they got. They're not talking about the client results. And guys, any system that does not involve accountability and coaching and somebody that's able to take the information and help you actually transform through it and make sure that you're actually getting an outcome, guys, it sucks. And it's going to leave you falling short. And what drives me crazy is it's going to make you feeling like you suck and that there's something wrong with you. And the truth is well, of course there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with all of us. But the problem is that you're made to think that the reason that something's wrong is that because you just didn't get the right strategy, or you just didn't get the right thing, or I just don't know, or I just can't change, and things like that. And that's not true. You can change. You can become the type of person that rocks these strategies, that follows through, that sticks things out, that doesn't wait for it to get that bad. But you need somebody who can help you diagnose, just like you need a doctor. Like what's really there. You need someone to run the scans, to give you the tests, to run the labs, to figure, okay, what is it really under there, under the surface? What is it that subconsciously could even be holding you back? What are those beliefs? What are those anxieties? What are those fears and things like that? And if you can overcome them, specifically around your own capability and your own potential, all of these sorts of things, you'll be able to fix it. But guys, I'll just give you another example. It's a great example. It's from a client I was just talking to the other day. She's so sweet. I love her so much. She was talking about starting a business, and she's like, I realized really at this point, like the only way to be able to, to fix this and to solve this in my business is that or to actually start a business is she's like, Let me start that over. So I'm getting all fired up. You guys got me all fired up. She's like, the only way to be able to really change my income at this point, it's like I could work for somebody else, but like it's probably gonna take a lot longer. She's like, I need to really start a business. And I was like, I agree. I think that would be the best strategy or the way for you to go do that. So we talked about some different possibilities for her and what would make sense. And I sent her some links, but really what ultimately was, as I'm helping her walk through this process, it wasn't that. It was, well, my husband just has always called me a dreamer program. I never really follow through. I've always got all these great ideas. I'm a visionary, but I don't really follow through. And my sisters, they kind of pick on me. They kind of, they're like, get your head out of the clouds type of thing. And like, they're all successful. They don't really think I have got what it takes. I think they think that they're better than me. And some of them have probably said it, that they're better than me and things like that. Basically, she said all of these different references. Maybe it was teachers growing up. And again, just saying like, okay, where it's getting the C's and not the A's. It's getting the, why didn't you follow through on this? It's like, when you ran the mile, it's like having to stop 3/4 of a mile short. And it's like, and feeling that sense of failure, feeling that sense of I can't follow through, I can't accomplish it, whatever it would be. You have all these programs that eventually they become a belief that I'm not somebody who can really follow through, that even if I have a great business idea, I'll never be able to follow through with it, or it'll probably start it and it'll probably tank, or I probably don't have what it takes, or all these sorts of things. Those are beliefs that she has, which then what is the emotion or the feeling that comes from that? Anxiety, overwhelm, fear, depression. It shuts you down. It leads to apathy. It leads to, I'll just settle. And so what does that lead to? Specific results. I'm not going to try the business. I'm not going to develop myself. I'm not going to educate myself. I'm not even going to bother trying. I'm just going to settle my job, my 9 to 5, even though it barely pays me, even though it barely is going to get me what I need. And I know I'm never going to be able to quit my job or to be able to retire from this, or I'm never going to be able to, have any savings really if I don't change. It's like, that's the result that she gets in life. And then that's the behavior, the action. Then the result in life is that I'm still in debt. I'm still in credit cards. I still don't know how to change it. I'm never going to retire, things like that. And that, guys, hopefully just, again, if you're just now tuning in, go all the way back through, guys, when this is over and listen to it, because I'm telling you guys, I have to work with her, not primarily around the strategy. What we found to be true, and it's really fascinating, guys, is that 99% of the time, when you can get people over all of those self-doubt and the fear and the overwhelm and all this stuff and help them figure out where's that coming from and how to shift it and how to change it, that really people actually know what to do. For instance, if I held a gun to your head, I'm not going to not say me because I don't want to be the bad guy, but if someone held a gun to your head and said, hey, if you don't change this right now, if you don't give me five different reasons right now for, 5 different strategies for you to be able to make, $100,000 more this year, I'm going to blow your brains out. You would find all of a sudden those ideas would come. Well, I could be doing this. And I could call this person. I could do this. So for instance, what I mean by that, guys, is that deep down within humanity, I just have this belief that every single person deep down knows what they really could be doing to fix the financial situation. They know. Again, we live in the information age. Almost all of you guys know what you could do. The problem, again, going back to it, is why are you not doing it? And why, when you do it, are the results sabotaged, or do you fall short, or does it not last? That is the primary thing that people are freaked out about. That is the primary thing that people are insecure about. And that, my friends, is the number one thing that's missing from almost any other solution I see out there, especially when it comes to a financial product. If it is a click and add to cart product, any financial thing, it's missing it. I can promise you. I've been doing this for a really long time. I haven't seen a single thing where it's like an add to cart sort of thing, where it's going to help you diagnose what those are, help you overcome it, and actually provide you the support to actually follow through and make sure you get the results. Nothing. So guys, again, if you need help, go to dreamteammarriage.com. That's what we focus on. We don't just give you the strategies, guys. We're going to help you. If it's a fit to help you, if we work together, we're not just going to give you the strategies. We're going to give you the support, the accountability, the coaching, the figuring out what's going on under the surface, what's going on under the hood that's really affecting the performance. Because I believe all of you guys, every person I meet, you are like a Ferrari. But some of you guys just need a little bit of fine tuning. It's like you don't know where the oil is yet in the Ferrari. You don't know where the gas is yet in the Ferrari. And it's like, so you've got this amazing system. Some of you guys already have amazing strategies in place. But again, it's like you don't know how to run it. You don't know how to optimize it. And so guys, that's what an amazing coach will do. And that's what's missing in why so many people are getting crappy results. People are waking up and realizing that's not what's really the problem. America's waking up. We're in the information age. We don't need more information. We need primarily more transformation. And if you know that I need transformation in my life and I need support, go to dreamteammarriage.com and we will get you guys there. Absolutely. And either way, whether it's us or something else, we'll make sure that you guys get a good transformational solution. So again, guys, that's the topic for the day. If you need help, go to dreamteammarriage.com. But again, guys, share this with someone that you need. Give me a comment. Leave me any questions that you guys have. But ultimately, if you just know you need help, just take action. Go do it. And let's get you guys some help that you guys need. So talk to you guys soon and see you guys on our next show. Have a great night.